Welcome back. Anger over the ongoing situation at the southern border came to a head during a congressional hearing, with some lawmakers unloading on the acting head of Homeland Security. Kevin McAleenan appeared before the House Oversight Committee yesterday to testify on conditions at the border facility housing migrants. The hearing was the latest held by House Democrats targeting the Trump administration's immigration policies. McAleenan was hammered for hours on the overcrowding at those facilities, as well as other issues involving his department. At one point, the committee's chairman, Congressman Elijah Cummings, tore into the acting secretary over the situation.
You feel like you're doing a great job, right? Is that what you're saying?
We're doing our level best in a very...
What does that mean? What does that mean when a child is sitting in their own feces, can't take a shower? Come on, man.
McAleenan said more than 800,000 migrants have been apprehended while attempting to enter the country since last October, calling those numbers staggering and unprecedented. But he says that DHS has made significant strides in its effort to secure the border and help protect migrants in custody. Joining us now, member of the House Oversight Committee, Democratic Congresswoman Robin Kelly of Illinois. Thank you so much for being on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Where do I begin? This department, under the Trump administration's directive, which was to scare families by saying they'd be separated from their families if they try and come into this country, even seeking asylum. Where do you begin trying to sort of preside and have oversight over the policies coming through the DHS?
Well, first of all, even though he's trying to scare the families, that's not working because they're still coming. And I think yesterday, listening to the secretary, I think he thinks they are doing the best job that they can do. And it seems like he hasn't been responsive because member after member talked about, we've asked you for this information, you've ignored us, so we haven't received any information, even bipartisan information that Chairman Cummings asked for and Congressman Meadows, and they, even though it was bipartisan, they still did not get the information. It's just unbelievable. The thing I do
so
want to...
So what do you do? What do you do if they're not forthcoming with information? And the reports are horrific, so obviously there's a reason to be extremely concerned. What is the recourse that oversight has to get answers and make changes?
Well, I think we have to keep going down. I haven't gone myself, but many of my colleagues have gone down to the border, and I think that Chairman Cummings had a great idea going down with the secretary, and as he said, so we can see what you see, we can see from your lens, since he seems to portray that it's not as bad as we think it is, or things have improved. So I think that's a start, us going down with him.
Okay, Gene Robinson.
Congresswoman, just one question. In terms of performing oversight, is it at all possible for the committee to hear from some of the migrants themselves? Why can't we have firsthand testimony of their experiences and the conditions in these facilities?
Well, you know, the week before, we heard from one of the moms that lost her daughter. Her daughter was 18 months old. So, I mean, that was gut-wrenching to hear that. So she was at the hearing last week, and so we have at least started doing that. But you know, we can do more.
When it comes to holding people responsible, when we have acting secretaries, for example, how much do you think that they are just trying to hold on to what they have in their position, making the president happy, versus if they were kind of independent, not somewhat independent, but at least had gone through the Senate confirmation process? Would they be more likely to be accountable for these actions, or at least be able to speak up a little more forcefully? Or do you find these people just basically doing interviews for Donald Trump? You know,
I feel like whether they're acting, which they should not be, or they've been confirmed that he runs the show, and they're going to do what he wants. They're going to say what he wants them to say. Maybe there's some independence somewhere, but no, from being on oversight and just being in Congress, it just seems like they work for him. They don't work for the people of the United States.
So what has to happen for this to not be an issue that we move on from for people? What is the political tactic at this point to keep this pressure on because of this news cycle, because of what we're up against on a daily basis? What's your message out there to keep the volume and to somehow push the buttons to actually, instead of just talking about it, get something done?
I feel like the public has to be involved. I mean, I don't think we can do it by ourselves, that all those reps, need to hear from their constituents. As we keep saying over and over, almost everybody's an immigrant, and I think that members of Congress need to hear from the people that they represent. So many people are against this, and I think that we need to keep being present and going to the border, and not only the border. So one of my constituents came to me and said there's a border in every state, and it was a family that came to me. Their father was deported. The 5 children are American, his wife is American, and they're all leaving to go to Mexico. Never been there before, don't speak Spanish because he was deported. So I just think with your help, we need to keep this, in the news, but not only Congress, but the public needs to keep the pressure on. And we need to see what we can do. Like we just sent, some more money down, which was controversial, but we need to make sure that the officers and the people have what they need. And I felt bad to keep hearing that we all want to get rid of ICE, or we're condemning the folks that are working down there. We know that many of them are trying as hard as they can, but also we know, I guess, like in any profession, there are some that are definitely doing the wrong thing, but we need to make sure we're supporting those doing the right thing. I do agree with that, and that we have beds and lawyers and medicine and things that we need or they need.
Congresswoman Robin Kelly, thank you very much. And
thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.